Morning you guys, it's Karen and today I'm here to do my best makeup of 2019. I could have happily skipped this one to be honest, but I know you guys, a couple of you guys have been requesting it and asking when I was going to do it. But I did attempt it a few times and I found it really difficult this year because several reasons. Firstly, it's only eyeliner and bronzer that I've got one absolute favourite where I could go, yeah, that's the one I would use for the rest of my life if I had to choose right now. Everything else, I've either not yet found a holy grail, especially because I'm trying to convert to cruelty-free, or I've got lots of different favourites for different situations. The other thing is, not many of these were discovered in 2019. Some were, but not many of them were, and I'm never sure if that's the purpose of the best or if it's just what's your favourite this year. And the final thing is I always like to do demos where I can. If I'm talking about a product, I want to show you me applying it, and I tried different ways to film me doing my makeup, but it just wasn't working because I put my makeup on so early in the morning. The lighting in the living room isn't good enough, even with my two lights on my camera, to come through here. I could do that, but you guys know, you're probably sick of hearing it, but when I first get up, it's really my only time, that hour where I'm putting on my makeup, where I have to myself, and I really enjoy it. And I'm also waiting for my painkillers to kick in for my joint pain, so it's not, I wouldn't feel like doing a video at that time in the morning. So there's not much, if any, demonstrations of me putting this stuff on, which I know not everybody does anyway, but I think it's really dedicated and good when, like my friend Nisha, she does a full face favourites, like she putting it on, you know, and I think that's much more helpful than me just telling you. The upside is that I've got a lot of products to tell you about. It's not just one for each category. So I'm going to tell you in the way that I put it on my face. So I always start with foundation. So I'm going to talk about foundation first, and I've got a lot. The reason I've got a lot is because I don't have one single favourite, like I said. So this would be probably the most used and one you would maybe think would be a favourite. It's the No7 foundation drops, and I do really like this, and then this is one that I continue to use and continue to enjoy. But if I mix it with something, I don't love the effect. I feel like it just doesn't give me enough coverage, but if I put it on its own, it's very, very full coverage, and it does then go a little bit cakey on me. So that's why that one isn't a complete favourite, but it is a nice one. With foundation, it's tricky because there are some foundations that I like that look lovely on screen, but don't look as good in person, and vice versa. And actually for every day, I think I'd probably be more geared now towards something that was more natural, but I don't like that look on camera, so it's a tricky one, but I do like that. The other one I've used this year a lot is the Mercier Silk Cream one, the original, the oil-free. And again, I do really like this. This is one that I love on camera. Whenever I wear it on camera, I think my skin looks quite flawless. I don't think it looks like that in person though. I think this looks a little bit cakey on me. And I've got two colours in this, and one is really dark on me, and I can only wear it when I've just applied a tan. And then, is this the light one? No, this is the darker one. And then the lighter one is only like if I go without tan for a while, you know. So the colours I found a bit tricky in that. But again, another nice foundation. So those are the two that I've probably used the most over the year, but there are three here that I bought in 2019 that I think may be favourites. I'll go with the one I've got on today. So this is the one I've got on today. It's the Kat Von D True Portrait Foundation, and mine is in Light 018. I love the packaging on this. I love the foundation when it goes on. I love the coverage. I can't remember what I think about it watching it back on camera. I think it looks okay. Today things are a bit patchy on me because I put a self-tan that's now in my empties and fails because it went patchy on my neck, and then I tried a new liquid bronzer and that went a bit patchy, so I might look overall a bit patchy. But I do really like this foundation. I like the consistency of it. It's liquid and, you know, it's not thick. It feels really lightweight on the skin, but it gives a really good coverage. So I do really like that, and that could well be a favourite. But I've not paid attention to any of these three I'm showing you enough to say it looks okay after a long day or a day out shopping or whatever, you know. The next one I really like is this. This is the Urban Decay Stay Naked. Mine is in 40NN, so it's quite a low number, which would make you think it was a darker colour, but it's not. But these do oxidise a lot. And I have really enjoyed this. Out of the three I'm showing you, this is probably the one that I would say would win. If I had to, if I was really pushed, I'd say, okay, I'll take this one. Because again, it feels lightweight. I like the fact that it's got a pump and that it's in a lightweight bottle. But again, I struggle with the colours because this 40NN, when you put it on, it looks nothing like when it dries. So it's difficult to know when to wear it, if that makes sense. Like, and if I wanted to get a darker colour, I'd have to go up a colour in the colour range. I don't know, I just find that really, really awkward. And I've always found that with Urban Decay foundations, I've always found that they oxidise, and I've always found it tricky to get the right colour. But other than that, I do like it. Again, it's really lightweight, like I said, and it seems to last okay, but again, I haven't tested that out. This one was a surprise. This is from Kiko. This is the Insta Moisture foundation. Definitely, I think in 2020, I need to be looking more into moisturising foundations. Not necessarily luminous, because I did try the luminous one of the Laura Mercier and I felt it looked terrible, particularly on camera, but in all lights it looked terrible. But this one is an Insta Moisture, but this one stayed really well. But I've only worn this, I think, twice, and so I need to test it a bit more. But it's again a candidate for, you know, potential holy grail. This is in 1.5N pump bottle. Why I was surprised at this is I've tried quite a few Kiko foundations and don't enjoy them. So I don't know why I went for it. I think because it said Insta Moisture, and I specifically have got it in mind that I'm looking for foundations with that are moisturising, that don't maybe look so cakey, don't maybe sink into lines as much. And this one seems like it would be really, really good. Like I said, I just need to use it a few more times and pay a bit more attention to it. After I've done my foundation, I do my brows, and I've got 4 products to show you because I enjoyed different ways of doing my brows. You know, years ago, before I did YouTube, I would have just had a brow pencil. I used to use the Superdrug B brow pencil in Hazel, and that's all I used. That's all I ever used. But now there's so many different ways of doing your brows. I will do my brows a certain way for a while and then go, oh, I've really fancied trying a pomade. So I really like this pomade by Kat Von D. It doesn't look like I've used much because you literally need the tiniest amount. Like, you need to tap your brush on this as lightly as you can, and that will do your whole brow. You know, it's really, really pigmented. And this one is in medium brown. I wish there was some different colours in this. The colours are a bit weird, and I think that's maybe the point. You know, you can get like blue and purple and do your eyes any colour you like. So there's not many just neutral type colours, and I could do with the colour a bit lighter. And when I put this on, my brows look really sharp, but I really like it just as, you know, a different way of doing things. Then I suppose my favourite, this is what I've got on today, is this. This is the Anastasia brow powder in caramel, and I've probably bought this 4 or 5 times. So again, if I was pushed, I would maybe choose this. This isn't the quickest way for me because, you know, it's a brush and powder and there's 2 different colours and takes a bit more time. I would probably just choose a pencil for quickness. But I really like how natural this looks. I think this is the most natural looking brows when I use this powder, and caramel is the perfect colour for me. It's not the cheapest, but I do really like it. I have tried, you know, eyeshadows and a lot cheaper brow powders, but they just haven't lasted on my eyes. You know, I've noticed them sort of going outside of the lines where I've maybe touched them or whatever. It doesn't happen with this, it just stays. Brow pencil, this is the Brow Blade by Urban Decay, and this I've been really enjoying. It's got just a normal brow pencil one end, almost micro, not quite, and then the other end is a kind of felt tip. And so this is also a look that is really kind of bold eyeshadow, bold eyebrows. But I actually find this quite quick. You know, I do need to use a spoolie with all of these things, but I do really like that as well. There's lots of pencils I like. I have to say, I would be spoilt for choice. I like the Revolution one. I like the NYX ones, the micro pencils. What else have I got in there? There's lots of brow pencils that I would be able to choose if I wanted to just use a brow pencil. And then the final brow item is this. It's completely rubbed off, but it's the Glossier Boy Brow in, I think it just says brown. But this is a brow sort of wax, you know, something you just sort of, so I've put it on this morning on the outside of my brow. These hairs always end up falling down, and this holds them in place, but doesn't make it stiff. You know, they're not going to feel crunchy when you touch them, and it's the best one I've tried out of all of them. So the Glossier Boy Brow is my favourite brow setter, I suppose you'd say. One thing I forgot to say about foundations is I have been applying it mostly with the Beauty Blender all year, which is a big surprise to me because it's quite inconvenient, because as I've said before, I sit in the living room and do my makeup, I get myself all organised and then get my makeup on. Now, it's not much to run to the bathroom to wet it every day, and I do have a spray that I use, but I generally forget, and you know, I've got my blanket on, I've got my cup of tea, I've got my brushes all set out, and then I'm like, damn it, I forgot to wet this. But I have found it to be the best way to make my foundation look nice, you know. I do still love the Real Techniques sponge, but I find that one absorbs a bit more product, and I just don't find it quite as flawless as this, but I think the Real Techniques will still be my choice going forward, because I just couldn't afford to buy enough of these sponges to replace them. You know, they do get dirty very quickly. Like this one feels like it's got this little point to it that just is not coming out regardless of how much I wash it, and I don't feel like I bought that long ago. But I feel like I rediscovered the Beauty Blender in 2019. But yeah, I do love the Real Techniques sponge as well. What I've been doing is I either dab on my foundation with my fingers or with the Real Techniques buffing brush, and then I use the blender to blend it in, and that just really works for me. Powder. I sometimes do powder before brows, sometimes after, depending on what brow product I'm using. And I've got, again, there's so many powders that I could choose from. I'd be spoilt for choice, but I have really enjoyed the Revolution powders. I'm using this one at the moment. This is the one I've got on my face. It's the Revolution. See, the problem with this is it will all come off. You know, you can see it's coming off. Matte base powder in P3, and then this one is the Bacon Blot translucent. They look like quite different colours, don't they? But I enjoy both of these. Really enjoy both of those, and would repurchase happily. I've been into using the compact versions rather than the loose powders, but I've got a lot of loose powders to get through and a lot that I love. But if I had to choose a favourite, it would be this one. This is the number 7 in Fair. This is my favourite loose powder, but only by a little bit. You know, I love the Revolution loose powder. I don't like there's one Revolution one that the packaging is terrible, but I like the packaging on this. Although it's still quite chunky, it doesn't make a mess, you know, so I like that. So those 3 powders I love. Foundations, I'm still looking for my holy grail. Powders, I've got loads that I could choose. You know, I'm not looking for something more from a powder. Eyebrow, I'm not looking for anything more, but I'm happy to try other things because I like using different things on my eyebrows. Okay, as I said to you, bronzer is the one category where I can say, yeah, I know exactly what bronzer I would take. If I had one bronzer for the rest of my life, it would be this one. This is the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze in Fair to Light, and it looks like that. And I don't use it that much because, you know, it's not an inexpensive bronzer. It's light, obviously, it's in Fair to Light. And I actually don't wear bronzer every single day, but this is definitely the one that I would take and use if I had to choose just one. It's really silky, it goes on so smoothly, like no, maybe the reason I don't wear bronzers all the time is because I'm not great at applying them, but this one, it never goes patchy. You know, it always looks really smooth. It doesn't look obviously like you've got bronzer, it does just warm up your face. It's the perfect colour. Love it, absolutely love this. That's the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze. But like with eyebrows, etc., I like to try different things. And so when I fancy using a liquid bronzer, I use this. This is the Photography Fluid Tan Opacity 8%, and I do really love this. I've just got the Hylamide ones, the photography, I think they're called photography foundations, to try. So I'll be interested to see what they're like. And one of them I used this morning, but I did get it a bit patchy, but I think it was more to do with what I had on underneath it than the actual product. But this I love. If you really like, you know, liquid bronzers, this is fantastic. And this is really nice to wear on a no makeup day as well. So it's the NIOD Photography Fluid Tan Opacity. I should show you it, shouldn't I? I'm not showing you applying it, but I should at least show you what it looks like. I don't think it gives you that great a picture though, just showing you on my hand like that, but it just gives a really nice, natural, healthy glow to the skin. And this one never goes patchy, and I find it really difficult to work with like liquid and cream face products, as in bronzer and blush, but not this one. Let me just show you my brushes that I've got here, because I've only got 4. These are the only 4 brushes. No, these are the only 4 brushes that are cruelty free that I don't need a replacement for. I've got a lot of brushes that are made with natural hair that I had before I converted to trying to be cruelty free, that I love and don't need replacing. But obviously I'm not going to show those, so I'm still looking for a synthetic version of those. These, however, I absolutely love. So the first is blush, and I've got 2. This one is the Real Techniques contour brush. If I had to pick one brush, it would probably be this, because this one I can use with powder blush and also cream blush or liquid blush, and this works for anything. And I know it's a contour brush, but it works really well for me, putting it, you know, wherever it needs to go, whatever formula I have. And then I really like this Real Techniques one, which is the powder blue brushes, and this one is much softer and much fluffier. So this one only really works with powder, whereas this one works with everything. But I love those 2 brushes. You know, I would repurchase them if I lost them. I'm not trying to replace them or find a blusher brush. This next one is Zoeva, and it's the 110 Face Shape. It's a little brush. This is what I use for liquid bronzer, and it works really well. It's the perfect size. What did I say it was called? Face Shape. It's just the perfect size to put liquid bronzer kind of where you need to. So love that one. And the next one is, I've got 4 of these. This is the Zoeva 237. It's called Detail Shader. This is amazing. If you like eyeshadow, any kind of eyeshadow, you need this in your life. I use this if I'm putting a matte eyeshadow on my eye, if I'm putting a pigment on my eye, any kind of eyeshadow on my eye, this is the best one. I used to use the MAC, is it called 219, the sort of flat one, but it was too wide. If you've got small eyes like me, like if you go to put your eyeshadow on like that, it would go way too high into my crease. This one is so small that you can literally put it where you want to, and it's great for pigment. But I've also used this for cream eyeshadow as well, and it's really good for that. This is just an all-rounder. I think everybody would benefit from having this in their makeup kit. I've had these 4 for years, and this is the only thing I use to apply my eyeshadow. I never ever change it. I never use anything different. I always use this no matter what. Concealer, I have 1 concealer, and it is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin. This one doesn't say what the colour is, which isn't very helpful, because when I go to repurchase it, I won't know. I'll have to like take this tube in with me and see if they can match it. That's what it looks like. But this is my favourite under eye concealer. It's still not perfect. I would still love to find the perfect one that had, I'd like to find a concealer that could cover lines, you know, that could blur them for you, because everything I've tried, I can find lots of things that will take away, you know, like, what are these called? Crow's feet, under eye lines. But then when you put makeup on top, it just brings them back again, or it accentuates them. And this is the least bothersome out of all of the concealers I've tried. This is the best one, but it still does, I feel, show my lines more than if I don't wear it. But I prefer that than showing, like, you know, the redness and darkness under my eyes. It's the lesser of 2 evils. And this is just, it's a nice sort of, it's a serum concealer. So it's not really thick, but it does give coverage, you know, because again, there's others I've tried. I think there's a Barry M one that was a serum concealer that was really nice and didn't sink into lines, but there was barely any coverage. So this has got a bit of everything. Blush, I've got 3 to show you, but again with blush, there's nothing I don't like about my blushes. If I could never buy another blush again, I think I'd be fine, and I wouldn't be disappointed. I do love blushes, but I really like the ones I've got. But the ones I think I use the most, or I really like the most, are this one by Urban Decay. This is called Rapture, and it's the Afterglow 8-Hour Powder Blush. I just think that that's a beautiful plum colour. I've bought a lot of plum blushes in the past that have been way too dark for me, but this one seems to suit me just fine. Then another kind of rosy pink colour, in fact I think it's called Rosy Pink. This is a fairly new find actually. This is the Butter Blush by Physicians Formula in Rosy Pink, and this one is really flattering. It looks very light there, doesn't it? But it is very flattering. A really pretty pink. And then finally I wanted to show you this Hourglass one. I've got this one on today, and this is in Dim Infusion. So it looks like that, and this is still one of my favourite blushes. That's what I've got on today. I think I just said that, didn't I? And all of these, I love that they they're not super pigmented so that when you pick some up, you're going to end up with a splodge of colour. But they're not, you don't have to really keep on working your brush into them. They're all the same kind of consistency, these, in that you can put your brush in and get enough colour. You know, you don't need to build it up constantly. But neither does it go patchy. They last really well. Love them. And honestly, there's about another 6 that I love as well in my collection. Okay, let's talk eyes. I had to choose eyeshadow palettes, and I was like, this is just impossible for me because I don't have that many palettes that I have used. I've never used a palette up ever, and the palettes that I have, I like 1 or 2 looks from each of them. There's not any one palette where I'm like, I love every single colour, but these are the closest to it, with also being the most amazing shadow formula. So the first one is this. This is the Anastasia Sultry palette. I nearly didn't buy this. I was very unsure because I knew that I loved Anastasia shadows, but I've got the Renaissance palette. I had I think it was called Soft Glam, all the ones that people loved, and I didn't love them color wise. But I got this, and I do love this. I think that what I love about it is it's got the brow color, it's got 2 possible crease colours, it's got an outer corner colour, it's got a black, and then it's got some really beautiful shimmery colours, and it's got a lovely sort of pop of colour if you really want to warm it up. And I also like the brush that comes in it. I use this brush when I use this palette. I use this for my crease and that for my brow colour. And I just love it. I really love it. Particularly love the rose quartz, but I don't think there's a shadow in there that I don't like. Oh no, that one. I wouldn't use that one, and I wouldn't use the grey one. Those 2 I wouldn't use, but everything else I would use. And that's unusual for me in a makeup palette, but I love that. I hope that's still for sale. I did mean to check it before doing this video. My other favourite is the Urban Decay Naked 3. This is another one where I don't think there's many in here that I wouldn't use. I can't see any in there that I would say I wouldn't use. Maybe that one there. What's that called? Dark Side, maybe I wouldn't use that, but most of the others I like, and there's like 2 or 3 that I absolutely love the look, and they're on my kind of favourite eye look list, which is on my list to do a video for you as well. And again, I like the brush in this as well. I don't always use it, but I do. I like that for the brow and that for eye primer actually. So I love the Urban Decay Naked 3. And then, of course, I can't not talk about my Vise Art palettes because I wanted you to know I still love them. I have bought a Vise Art palette this year that I don't love, which is, now is it called Rose Edit? It's about yay big, and it's got maybe 12 shadows in it. But I've put that into my auction bag. I'm going to do an auction on my Facebook page for a charity. I usually do it for there's a charity that helps the dogs in Asia, but this one is, I'm going to give it to the SSPCA because they've been so great with me this year. Every time I phoned them, they've said yes, whether it's a pigeon, a grey squirrel, whatever it is, they've always said yes and always came out to help. So anyway, going off on a tangent, I do love my Vise Art shadows. It's just the palette that I bought, there was nothing new in it for me. There was nothing amazing for me colour-wise, and I love my original Vise Art Theory palettes, and this is the Amethyst one, and I just adore it, and I would definitely grab this in a fire. You know, I'd be like, no, I'm not going without my Vise Art palette. However, you guys know that I don't just love eyeshadows, I love pigments, and so the 2 pigments, or the 2 brands of pigment that I love the most are the Makeup Geek and the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics, not to be confused with Makeup Artist, which is sold in Superdrug. Somebody did ask me that. This is Makeup Addiction Cosmetics, only available online, and I got some new pigments this year and they are just gorgeous. And I don't love the packaging, but I do love everything else about them. I love the colours, how shiny they are. They're amazing, and they're pretty good prices as well. And then the Makeup Geek pigments, this one is in Wildfire, and that's what I've got on my eyes today. And there's a couple of the Makeup Geek pigments that I just love and go back to. What's the one that's that kind of pinky mauve colour? It's Moon something. Can't remember the name, but Makeup Geek pigments, love them. And I love their packaging actually. This one is just so much easier to use. You put your brush in there, you can get loads of product on it, but it's not going to come out because it's got a sort of extended lid that holds everything in, so it doesn't get messy like the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics one do. Oh, I should have mentioned these first. I was going to do it in the order I put things on, but these are eye primers. I have been using the Smashbox 24-hour photo finish primer for years and I love it, but I tried the No7 Stay Perfect eyeshadow primer because this one is expensive. And I would say this one I like ever so slightly more than this, because this one you kind of have to shake. Sometimes it comes out separated and that's no good. So you have to sort of shake it, but it's not, it doesn't feel like you can shake it. So you have to kind of, you know, smush it around. I'm often trying to figure this out and it comes out separated and that's annoying. I feel like I waste a bit of product with this, but it is a really, really good alternative, you know, to spending. I think this is probably £24 and this might be half that price. And it does absolutely work. It does keep your eyeshadow on all day. But I think this one just beats it for me, the Smashbox one. And what I love about these two is they're colourless, and so you can put them on and it will really bring out the colour of any pigment or shadow you're using. But it's not going to cover anything on your eyes. If you want one to cover, I've got the Urban Decay Eden. That one is a colour, it's like a creamy colour, and that one I like the wand to it, but I don't find it as good for like giving a pow to pigments. My eyeliner choice, I don't think you're going to be surprised. It is the NYX matte liquid eyeliner. I love it. I have been using that all year. I did really like the Natural Collection one, but the bottle and the brush was just a little bit too big for me, so this is still my holy grail. I've got about 3 of these in my drawer because I know it's the only thing I'll use. I'm not ever tempted to buy another liquid eyeliner unless it's specifically for a YouTube review. You know, if I wasn't doing YouTube, it would just be this. I wouldn't even bother with anything else. So love that. Where's my other pencil? I've got 2 eyeliner pencils that don't know whether the other one I discovered this year. The other one is the Wonderliner, and it's just a black eyeliner pencil. And then this one is the Milk Makeup eyeliner pencil, which one of you guys recommended to me, so thank you. And I only use this in the waterline, and they're both really, really good. This one's got a smudger on the end, which doesn't really, I don't use a smudger. I don't know how many people use smudgers. I always feel like this is a waste and that they would be better having a sharpener or something, I don't know. And this is a twist up one. But this one is really, really smooth, this Milk one. I put it on my upper waterline, it's really smooth. It goes on a nice black colour, and it more or less stays. You know, it's exactly the same as the Wonderliner in that, they, like I said, they both go on smooth, give you a nice colour, and they pretty much stay. I would say if you put them on and wait half an hour and use a cotton bud and take out, you know, what's gathered in the kind of inner eye, then that would be you set. It wouldn't then budge unless you were like, you know, at the gym or getting really sweaty, and then it might smudge under your eyes. But other than that, they hold pretty well. I would still try any other eyeliners that came out. And finally, lashes. And these I would say have been my overall favourites from 2019. These are the Eyelure Naturals number 003 3/4 length. They're the ones that I've worn most of the time and enjoyed on videos. The ones I've got on today are the velour lashes in Would I Lie to You, and I do really, really like these. I'm going to buy another pair of these because I kind of ruined one of these. You may remember me showing you, and I do like these, but I've only just discovered these, and this is the only the second time I've used them. And these have got a thinner band. These I think I prefer on. They're a little bit more glamorous, but they've got quite a thick band, whereas this is a really nice invisible band. Finally, onto lips, and I don't think it will be a surprise the lip liner might, but the lipsticks I've chosen are both Stila liquid lipsticks. One is in Caramello, that's the one I've got on my lips today, and one is in Perla, which is, this is Perla, isn't it? Which is a really nice kind of dusky pink that I should wear more, I feel like, because this is the first year, 2019 is the first year that I've started thinking, that Caramello is a little bit draining on me. You know, I should wear something a bit brighter. So I will try and wear the pink one a bit more because it is very nice. And there's another one I've got called Palermo in the Stila range that I love as well. And out of all the liquid lipsticks I've tried, these are my favourites. Stila are definitely my favourite liquid lipsticks. Lip liner. 2019 was a real challenge for lip liner because Too Faced Perfect Nude was my perfect lip liner of life, and I would have just said, yep, that's my favourite, I'll use it forever, but they don't do it anymore. So I've managed to get a couple from Amazon. I think I might still have one left, but I'm constantly trying others. And this one is the one that has been the closest. I like a creamy lip liner. This is a bit too cool probably, but it's the closest I've got. I like a creamy lip liner, and I like one that stays put, and it's the colour that's the most difficult for me to find. But this one is by Colourpop. Bloody Colourpop. Is it called Colourpop or Pop of Colour? No, it's called Colourpop, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Anyway, you may remember I did a video on them because I did a haul and I didn't get the mascara. It was completely dried out, and then it was just a complete farce trying to get hold of customer service. And eventually they did send me stuff out. They sent me out a couple of other mascaras, but they never got it right. I eventually had to get a reply from them in a month's time, and they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, we'll send it out. And they sent me face masks. And I was like, you've got to be joking. And then it was another month before I heard from them. You know, it was just a big saga. So I'm not keen on ordering from the Colourpop website. If Colourpop are sold elsewhere, maybe. But I do really like this. It's a twist up lip liner. Like I said, it's the closest I've got to the Too Faced Perfect Nude so far. It's soft and creamy. Once it's dry, it lasts. Yeah, I do really like it, and it's annoying that I like it. I'm not really a lip gloss girl, but I did really enjoy this this year, which was the Collection Liquid Lip Colour. So it doesn't advertise itself as a lip gloss, but that's the colour there. I think, what's the colour called? In the Buff 2. And I have to say, every time I've put this on, I've really enjoyed it. It's not a sticky lip gloss. At the moment, I've got on the Buxom Lip Gloss in Bellini, and it's nice. There's a little bit of cooling to it, but it is a little bit sticky. Not completely, because this isn't a lip gloss. I think it's they do lip glosses, don't they? And then they do these, I can't remember the name of them, but this one, you know, my hair didn't stick to it. It lasted quite a while. It moisturised my lips. It did exactly what I wanted it to, which is just to stop the liquid lipstick being too dry in and just give it a little bit of a, not a shine, but like a satin look. I don't want too much of a matte look, and this Collection liquid lip colour did exactly that, and it's really, really cheap. Okay, that's everything for my favourites. Like I said, the only things that I would say 100% I had to grab would be my Bare Minerals bronzer, my NYX liner, and probably a Zoeva 237. I would grab one of those makeup brushes or eye brushes, just because I couldn't live without that. I wouldn't know what to use on my eye. I apologise that it wasn't more useful to you, i.e. having the demos in, but hopefully you would prefer it this way than not at all. Let me know what your favourites are if you're not doing a video, or if you're doing a video, leave a link to it below and I will watch it, because I haven't watched many so far. I've told you everything that's on my face, so that's everything. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll speak to you again soon.